Let us understand details related to indexes for constraints. Constraints such as primary key and unique are supported by indexes. When it comes to primary key, it has to be unique, and also we cannot store null values in the primary key columns. When it comes to unique, data has to be unique. However, there can be null values in the unique columns. Unless data is sorted, we need to perform full table scan to enforce uniqueness either in primary key or unique. Almost all the databases will create indexes implicitly for primary keys as well as unique constraints. Otherwise, it will take too much of time just to enforce the uniqueness, which can be counterproductive for our applications. We cannot define primary key or unique constraint without associated index. Even if you try to drop the underlying index that is created when you actually create primary key or unique constraint, it will just fail. It will not let you drop the underlying indexes when the index is associated with a constraint to enforce either primary key or unique. It is quite common that we explicitly create indexes for foreign key columns to improve the performance. We have seen an example as part of the previous topic. We just created index on order item order ID, which is nothing but a foreign key column, to improve the performance of queries where we are trying to get the order details by passing the order ID to the query. That being said, let's connect to the database. Let's drop the table users, also the sequence if it exists. Then let's create the table users, where user ID is normal int column. We have 3 constraints, all of them are not null constraints. You can also validate by running this query. As part of the table constraints, we can only see 3 constraints for table users, and all of them are nothing but check constraints for not null or not null constraints. Now if you run this query against pg underscore indexes, it returns nothing because we just created the table. There are no explicit indexes. Also, there are no primary key or unique constraints, which will result in creating the indexes implicitly. As we do not create the indexes or constraints, this query is not returning anything. Now let's create the sequence and then alter table users to associate that sequence with user ID and also to enforce primary key on top of user ID. Now you can run this query against table constraints. We can see 2 additional constraints, one for not null associated with the primary key and the other one for primary key itself. Now if you run the query against pg underscore indexes, you will see one index with the same name as our primary key, which is nothing but users underscore p key. You can see here. You can also see the actual statement which you can leverage to create the index for primary key. You have to associate the index with primary key if you want to pre-create the index and then enforce primary key constraint using that index. However, we just do alter table and create the primary key, which will take care of creating these indexes for us. But it is possible to pre-create the index and associate with the constraint while defining the constraint. Now we can run this query, which will give us the details of both constraint as well as index for table users, especially for primary key constraint. You can see table catalog, table name and constraint name coming from table constraints, and then index name coming from pg underscore indexes. You can join based upon the constraint name and index name between these 2 tables or views to get these results. Now let's create a unique constraint. Let's run this query. On top of the primary key constraint, we also have unique constraint now. You can also run this query against pg underscore indexes, which will give us additional index details. In this case, when we create the unique constraint, it also created an index for us, and this is the index. You can see the index name, which is same as the constraint name, and also you can see the create index statement for that index. You can run this query to get the details about the unique constraints. Now this query will give us all the primary key constraints as well as associated indexes from the underlying database IT Varsity Retail DB. You can see details with respect to all the primary key constraints as well as unique constraints along with associated indexes. It is not possible to drop the indexes that are automatically created to enforce primary key or unique constraints. In this case, if I try to drop this index, which is created when we define unique constraint on email ID, it throws error saying that cannot drop index users user email ID key because constraint user email ID key on table users requires it. However, you can drop constraint users user email ID key on table users instead, which means it is asking us to drop the constraint instead of dropping the index. And when we drop the constraint, it will drop both the constraint as well as the index. As an IT professional, it is very important for us to understand the relationship between the constraints and indexes, especially with respect to primary key as well as unique. They are supported by underlying indexes. Unless and until indexes are there, it will be counterproductive even if some of the databases allows us to create the constraints, which is highly unlikely. So make sure you understand the relationship between constraints and indexes. It is very, very important.